Hey guys, I'm John.
I'm Lily. And I'm Tron.
And in this video, we're going to tell you how ace we think Star Wars is. So guys, welcome to this video, and as it is Star Wars Day today, we thought we'd do this video as a bit of a retrospective about what Star Wars is to us and how we, basically, if we like it or not. Spoiler alert, we do. And then we're just going to talk about sort of what we think, the films, which is our favourites, and how we discovered them and what they are for us. Now, I am a big Star Wars fan, I always have been, and because of my love of Star Wars, it has sort of descended through my children here, and these guys love Star Wars as well. So that's why they're joining me today for this retrospective video, because we're all big fans. So why not share that love with everybody else, okay? Now, as I say, I am a big fan, and it isn't just the films that I have and I love, as I am a big fan. I have quite a lot of other Star Wars things, which are... Some of the other things I do have is I do have quite a few books, some of which I have read, some of which I've not, which I should eventually get around to. The graphic novel is one of my favourites. And then I have a couple from the games, because I do love the Force Unleashed games. So when I saw the books for those, I just thought they were really cool. And then I've just got quite a big selection of different books. And another personal favourite there, the Geektionary, which is just such a damn cool thing. So I do have a small collection of games, physical as well. Not a lot, just a couple. And I do also have a really, really, really cool Xbox 360, fashioned after R2-D2. It was just one of them things that was just a must buy. It also came with a C-3PO pad, which is just fits, man. And then I also have a little BB-8 one as well. I do also have this selection of digital games. Now these I have on the Xbox, as you see here. Again, some I have played, some are still on my to-do list. Here you just see my small collection of Funkos here. So I don't have too many. And I also have just a couple of other little figures as well. So here I also have a selection of Lego Star Wars sets. So I think the Lego Star Wars sets are absolutely incredible, and they are just an awesome addition to any Lego set. And I don't collect any other Lego sets really, it is just the Lego Star Wars sets. I just think they're absolutely amazing. I don't have loads, just a small selection, but there are others out there I would like, but these are just the ones that I currently have. So that was a look at some of the other things that I have Star Wars. And like I say, this video we are going to sort of prioritise looking at the movies. But like I said before, because we're doing this video on Star Wars Day, it is only right for us to say to you guys, Happy Star Wars Day! So as I say, we're going to talk about the movies. Now, what I want to start with is my DVD collection. So I have this collection of Star Wars DVDs here. Now, I know most people don't sort of like DVDs anymore. We're moving into the Blu-ray territory, which is all well and good for me. I love Blu-rays and 4K and going up the generations. But this particular set is something that I will always have, especially 4, 5 and 6. So I don't know if you guys can see on the front of this here. As it does say there, it's a limited time only edition, and it includes like the remastered edition, and on the second disc, as a bonus feature, it has the original theatrical release. So how they were originally released back in the early 80s with no special effects as they did. So it's things like Jabba in A New Hope is still just a dude rather than the big slug effort thing that everybody knows him to be, which was changed because of continuity, where he appears in Return of the Jedi, which younger generations don't know that, but yeah, Jabba was a dude in the first one, so they changed that. And just because of that, that's why I love these DVDs, and that's why I won't get rid of them. And I don't get rid of the original, the prequel trilogy, simply because it just keeps me set nice. Just makes me set just look pretty, and the completionist in me just won't get rid of them. So that's what they are, guys. But like I say, we are going to talk about the film. So these are my Blu-rays here. So I do have the original saga, the original 6-movie saga in this absolutely gorgeous box. Now, obviously, I brought this before they brought out the big box when we had 9 films. I have actually got all the others here. So I do have the others on Blu-ray as well. So I have completed my set. Now, for me, I grew up, I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up with Star Wars. So Star Wars was something that was really, really big in my life. When I was growing up, I used to collect the toys. And it was just one of them things where the story just captured me, and it just took me away to them other worlds, and I absolutely loved it. And I always just kind of wanted a lightsaber, you know, and maybe one day they will make one and I'll have one. I doubt it, but you never know. But that's just one of them things for me. But growing up, my favourite character was always Boba Fett. I love Boba Fett. And I always had a little toy of Boba Fett. And it was just one of them things that was really, really special to me, because I love Boba. And as I have sort of got a couple of other little, so I've got my little Lego Boba and my Funko Boba. And I love Boba. And it was just a shame that sort of what happened to his character in number 6. But I'm glad sort of they've started redeeming him in The Mandalorian and so on. But growing up, for me, Episode 5 is my favourite. The Empire Strikes Back. It is pretty much perfection in a film. There's just everything about that film is just perfect. I absolutely love Episode 5. Well, that's what my favourite is, and it's just because of the storyline in it. It's just got such a strong storyline, and it just grips you, and like everything about it is just perfect. And that ending is one of the best endings I've ever seen in a film. I personally like an ending of a film where you don't get a happy ending. I like a sad ending. Not a very sadist or anything, but I just like a sad ending because it's just that you know, you don't expect it. Most films nowadays, everything's always got a happy ending, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
So for me, when a film doesn't have a happy ending, that's good for me. I like that. That's a bold, brave move for somebody to do that. And the way Episode 5 ended was just awesome, and it just left you wanting more. And back in the day, in the early 80s, not many films did that. So it was really, really sort of fresh at the time when I watched it, for that to happen. So for me, Episode 5 is my favourite. What's your favourite?
The Rise of the Skywalker.
Yeah, she likes number 9. That's probably my least favourite, but everybody's entitled to an opinion. What's your favourite, mate?
Empire Strikes Back.
See, this one's been well trained.
I've been well trained.
But that's what we like, guys. In the comments down below, let us know what your favourite Star Wars film is, and if you have any reasons why. But also, I kind of like the spin-off ones. So I do have both the spin-off films as well. Solo was okay. It was nice to see the Millennium Falcon how it was at the beginning, before Han Solo got his hands on it and just absolutely ruined it. Yeah, no wonder Lando was angry at it. And then we have Rogue One. Now, Rogue One really impressed me. It was one of them films that was just really, really damn good, which I didn't expect. But for me, it was really good. I liked the story in it. I liked how it tied into Episode 4. It sort of connected everything together. So I really like that. But as they are the spin-off films, we're not really going to focus on them. So we're going to go talk about now like these films. Okay, so we're going to talk about these ones. And we're going to start. So for me, Episode 1, when it first released back in '99, it was one of them films that had such a big hype building up to it, and when it got released, I don't think it quite achieved what it should have done. It gave us one of the best bad guys that we've ever had in Darth Maul. Darth Maul was one of the best villains in the Star Wars universe we've seen. Now, it is good that in the Clone Wars they sort of brought him back to sort of justify his character a little bit, and that's good. But on the screen, it would have been sort of nicer to see him appear back in there. But episode 1 was okay. It had some good actors in it. It had some good ideas in it. It just wasn't greatly executed. And I think there was an over-reliance on special effects that sort of let it down. And Jar Jar. Not a massive Jar Jar fan. And I don't think I'm alone there. A lot of people don't like Jar Jar. But overall, episode 1 was okay. Okay. Now, moving on to Attack of the Clones. I thought what they were trying to do with Attack of the Clones was really, really good. They were building the franchise there. And it was moving forward. Now, the beginning of Attack of the Clones is a bit slow, and it's a bit of a sloppy romance, and I'm just like, get on with it. I want to see somebody kick some butt. And then we get to the halfway point where they get on the planet. Oh, man, it just kicks off. And the end of Attack of the Clones is just awesome, man. And all the Jedi there, and they're fighting everybody, and Mace Windu comes. Mace? What's his name?
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. See? Call myself a fan. So, when Mace Windu comes in, starts swinging his lightsaber, and Sam Jackson just looking cool as hell, as only Sam Jackson can, because, you know, he's Sam Jackson, man. He's just a bad mofo. It's just awesome, and then the troopers come in and they're flying around, and it sort of turns into like a Star Wars war movie, and it's awesome, man. I love it. It's great. And then the end fight with Dooku and Anakin, and then you sort of it's that bit when Yoda just hobbles in, and you're like, hey up, Yoda's going to speak some wise words here, and just, that's it. And you're thinking, great. Where's Mace Windu? And then Yoda flings his lightsaber around and just goes crazy, starts jumping everywhere, and you're like, what? What's going on here? And it's just awesome, man. So, yeah, Attack of the Clones is really, really good. And then we move on to Revenge of the Sith. I love Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is one of the better Star Wars films. Now, I know it gets a lot of slack because it's part of the prequel trilogy, and nobody likes the prequel trilogy, but I like it, man. Revenge of the Sith is just, I don't know, I think it's just such a good film. And the way it shows Anakin's descendancy to becoming Darth Vader is amazing. And one of the highlights of the film is the lightsaber fight on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That, for me, is one of my favourite lightsaber fights, and I could rewatch it again and again. It is just so well choreographed, so well done, and it just, oh man. I might even go watch it in a minute. Once we finish this video, we're going to watch it. Just because it's awesome. But then I love it how you see him turn into Darth Vader and how he goes. And I don't like it when he screams no. That was just super cheese, man. No. He's like, no. I'm like, dude, you need a lozenge. But apart from that, yeah. Revenge of the Sith's quality, man. And then we move on to like number 4. So this is where it originally began back in 1977 with A New Hope, and it was such an amazing film when it first released. And I remember when it released, I wasn't born then, but I remember reading about when it released. But I remember reading that Fox, 20th Century Fox, didn't believe in it too much, and they sort of didn't give it a big opening. And they had another film in the lines that was supposed to be the summer blockbuster, and they were like pushing that into every cinema and everywhere across the countries. And then Star Wars was this little film that were like, nobody wants to see space pirates, and then Star Wars just kicked the world into gear, man. It just kicked butt, and it was amazing. And back in the day, it was simply just titled Star Wars. And it wasn't until they started having sequels and building franchises that they decided to episode them. So it was really cool that they sort of thought about it and went back and did it, and then it was just really good. But A New Hope was such an amazing introduction into this world. I mean, if I do rewatch them now, I do start with number 1 and sort of go through 1 to 9. and include sort of Solo and Rogue One between 3 and 4 because that's sort of the timeline in which they're set. And I know people would say you'd have to watch 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, but no man, I'll watch them in number order. But yeah, New Hope was just brilliant, and the introduction to the characters, and when you first meet Darth Vader, you're just glued to the screen, and it's just so cinematic. I love it. Darth Vader's your favourite character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Who doesn't love Vader? Vader just rules. And then we move on to episode 5. Episode 5 is just awesome, and it is by far one of my favourite films. It sits in my top 5. It does. It's just one of them films. I could watch episode 5, and as soon as it stops, I could start it again. For me, it is just perfection of filmmaking. It is so good. But as I've spoke about it before when I was on about my favourite films, we won't dwell on that one too much. But then, moving on to Return of the Jedi, which, a little bit of a fact, when episode 3 came out, it was called Revenge of the Sith. That was because episode 6 was originally entitled Revenge of the Jedi. Now, there are some posters that were originally released that do actually state Revenge of the Jedi, but then it was sort of dubbed that a Jedi would never take revenge. A Jedi is too pure of heart to take revenge, so they changed it to Return, and episode 3 was a little bit of a homage to that title, and that's why they called it Revenge of the Sith. So, little fun fact for you there, guys. But yeah, episode 6 is really good. I like how it ties everything up, and everything comes sort of round. And if you do watch them in order from 1 to 6, it does finalise Anakin's story. As he was the chosen one, he was the one that was going to destroy the dark side. It does finally come full circle in episode 6 because he's the one that does finally take down the Emperor. So he's the one that stops Palpatine. And that was the destiny foretold in episode 1. So the way they sort of put them all together is just amazing. And I just think it's such an amazing saga, and they should have just left it at 6. Just leave it at 6. So here we go. So we move on to the sequel saga. So episode 7, Force Awakens, I actually think was quite a good effort. It was a very safe film. Now, I know some people don't like this, but I kind of enjoyed that one. This is when we get introduced to Rey and Finn and Poe, and the introduction to Kylo Ren, and I really liked his storyline in that, and when you find out his parentage and all that, and and I really enjoyed that side of it, and I thought Rey was quite a cool character. You like Rey, don't you?
Yeah, she's my favourite character.
Yeah, Rey's cool, man. And I really like sort of how you discover that she's the Jedi and she has Force powers, and that's pretty cool. And it just sort of it laid the groundwork for what could have been an awesome trilogy. To be fair, it sort of teased and it put it down there, and you were like, yeah, okay, we're building something here. This could be good. And then The Last Jedi come out. Wow. Yeah. That was one of the most disappointing films I think I've ever been in the cinema to watch. It was just... Ugh. So I didn't like anything about that film, really. So it starts off, and obviously the Resistance are trying to escape the New Order. And so the bad guys are chasing the good guys in space, and it's just too far out to reach for the rockets to hit, which is fine. And then the baddies decide that, oh no, we'll just let him run out of fuel, and that's how we'll catch him. And I'm like, really? Really? So you've got this massive fleet. Why not just radio someone and say, dude, this is where they are, get them from the front, and we'll box them in. And then it just doesn't happen, and they just sort of chase them and chase them and chase them, and it was such a boring film. And then they went on to that planet where, for some reason, the leaders didn't tell Poe or Finn or anybody what was happening because it was on a need-to-know basis. Yet, these are the guys in the last film that saved the day. So these are the heroes, but they're not supposed to be clued in. And it was just a reason for the film to go to that weird casino planet so you could find the Force-sensitive kids that, you never saw anything else of. Yeah. And then it gets to the end of it. It's sort of like Empire Strikes Back in reverse. Empire starts on a snow planet, and The Last Jedi ends on the salt plains, so it looks like snow, but it's just like that in reverse. But bad. Empire's good. Last Jedi's rubbish. And then it comes to the end, and Luke sort of sends his vision to the planet of Crate and fights Kylo Ren, or just stands there as a hologram and does nothing, and Kylo Ren just has a little hissy fit. And then, because Luke has projected himself across the galaxy, he used up all his energy and dies. And I'm like, really? Luke Skywalker is the most powerful Jedi that's ever been. And through the rest of this film, Rey, who has no Jedi training, can project herself to Kylo Ren. But Luke kills him. Like, seriously. Have the people that created the film not watched any of the others? Do they not know who Luke Skywalker is? He's like freaking Skywalker, man. It wouldn't happen. So, yeah, that's Last Jedi. That should have been the last Star Wars film. And then...
The Rise of the Skywalker.
I know, Lily. It's your favourite film. She loves this one. So this was the last film. This was the last film we actually went to the cinema to see together. And it was. And I was so looking forward to it because J.J. Abrams was back in the helm, and I was proud of what he did in episode 7. And I was hoping he could sort of redeem the shambles of what was in episode 8. And then Rise of Skywalker came out. Now, she loves this one because Rey just sort of kicks butt in it and everything comes out. I can't say as I liked anything about it at all. I sat there in the cinema and I just couldn't wait for it to end. It was just... What good can you say about it? Special effects were good. We could say that. That was pretty good.
The film was good. The film wasn't good.
To you. If you enjoyed it, that's fine. And if anybody else out there enjoyed it, then guys, do you know what? I don't want to change your view on it. This is just my personal opinion. Because she likes it, and I'm not going to change her view on it, you know what I mean? That's just how she is, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy that she has her own opinion. But for me, no. One of the worst things about episode 9 was the return of Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, okay, apparently he was a clone or whatever. But no. To me, episode 9 disgraced everything that came before. So, the first 6, so 1 to 6, were the story of Anakin Skywalker stopping the Sith. Okay, that was what they were. So Anakin came full circle as Darth Vader. He killed Palpatine. He ended the Sith, and that was how it was. That was how it should have been. Okay, and then episode 9 they brought him back, so it was just like, ha ha ha, Darth Vader failed, and I'm like, no, Darth Vader's awesome. He didn't fail. So yeah, bringing Palpatine back was just such a mistake. And then the addition of new force powers in it that you'd never seen before, I didn't like that either. I just didn't like it. And then, the end of it, when somebody asked Rey what her name was. Yes, I know you like the fact that she is Rey Skywalker now.
Even though she was Rey Palpatine.
Just say who you were, man. Do you know what I mean? So, but she enjoyed it. Okay, and that's fine. So you guys out there, I hope that you enjoy Star Wars. And like I say, drop us a comment down below. Let us know what your favourite films are. Okay, but for me, I'm always going to hope that there is more good Star Wars films coming out. What they've done with the series, so The Mandalorian was amazing, and The Clone Wars is really good as well. So I think what they do in the series is really good, but at the minute, the films aren't as good as they have been. So hopefully they will bring some more Star Wars films out. So guys, that was our sort of look into Star Wars and what we think about it and how much we enjoy everything up to 7 or 9. But that's how it is, guys. So, with that, may the force be with you.